The courtroom was heavy with silence, the kind of silence that carries the weight of broken trust. A uniformed police officer, tall and stoic, sat across from a young woman whose eyes betrayed guilt and exhaustion. The bailiff's voice broke the tension. "Order! All rise!" And with that, the story of Duncan vs. Thomas began. A story not about strangers, but about family. About love corroded by betrayal, and about how one act of desperation can rip a home apart. Police officer Jarvis Duncan had served the force for 18 years. To his neighbors, he was the image of discipline and duty. But that morning, he wasn't just an officer. He was a father, a stepfather, facing the hardest kind of criminal. His own stepdaughter, Jessica Thomas. Jessica had been in his life for nearly 2 decades. He had raised her, celebrated her birthdays, watched her grow into a mother herself. She was family, until the day she wasn't. Judge Judy Sheindlin, sharp-eyed and uncompromising, leaned forward from the bench. "Mr. Duncan," she began, her voice slicing through the tension. "Miss Thomas is your stepdaughter?" "Yes," he answered firmly. "And you've been her stepfather for 19 years?" "Correct." "And this," she gestured toward the woman sitting next to him, "is her mother?" "Yes, Your Honor. From the outside, they might have looked like any broken family. But beneath the polite answers and tired faces lay a deep wound, one that had begun with a check and ended with a pawn ticket. It all started, Jarvis explained, with a simple act of trust. His stepdaughter had visited often, family dinners, birthdays, holidays. Even though she had moved out, she still had access to the house. She was part of the family, after all. But in early January 2013, things started disappearing. Small at first, barely noticeable. A bracelet here, a necklace there, then an iPad, a watch, a camcorder. When asked, Jessica denied everything. But Jarvis was a police officer. He noticed details, patterns, inconsistencies. He knew when someone was lying. So he started digging. He followed the trail to a local pawn shop. And what he found there confirmed his worst fears. His stepdaughter's name on multiple pawn receipts, and her thumbprint on each one. Judge Judy examined the receipts closely. "This is a pawn ticket," she said, holding it up for the courtroom to see. "And it has a fingerprint." "Yes," Jarvis replied. "You compared this to the fingerprint from her prior arrest, when she cashed that fraudulent check?" "Yes. And it was a match?" "Yes." Jessica shifted uneasily in her seat. "I've pawned items before, Your Honor," she said softly. "I don't know what he's talking about. Maybe these were mine." Judy's eyes narrowed. "This is a 14-karat gold link bracelet," she said, "and a woman's Belova watch, both matching the description of the items taken. That's too much of a coincidence." "I've pawned things for friends before," Jessica protested weakly. Judge Judy didn't buy it. "No," she snapped. "Everybody has ID, nobody needs you to pawn for them. The only reason someone would use you is because they can't use themselves, maybe because they stole it." In that moment, Jessica's defenses began to crumble. Her voice faltered. "I'm not sure," she whispered. "I've needed money before. I'm a single mom. I've been unemployed for a year. My parents have helped me, but sometimes—" "But when they didn't help you," Judge Judy interrupted, "did you help yourself to their property?" Jessica lowered her gaze. "No, ma'am." The judge wasn't convinced. "This," she said, holding up the receipt again, "suggests otherwise." Jarvis continued his account. After noticing the missing money from his checking account, he called Jessica directly. "I asked her what she was doing," he told the court. "At first, she denied everything. But then she said, 'I'm sorry,' and promised to pay me back." 2 days later, he confronted her again, this time about the jewelry and electronics. "I asked, 'Jessica, why are you stealing from us? After everything we've done for you?' She said she didn't know why and that she would repay us." Her mother nodded silently beside him. "Yes," she confirmed. "That's exactly what happened." Jessica sighed, her voice trembling. "I don't know what to say. I made a mistake. I've apologized over and over. We agreed to work it out as a family. He said he wouldn't press charges, but he went against his word. I ended up spending 10 days in jail, away from my kids." Her eyes glistened with tears. "My daughter saw things she shouldn't have. Heard fights she shouldn't have. This broke our family apart." Judge Judy studied her for a long moment, her expression a mix of sternness and pity. "You understand," she said finally, "that it was your actions that caused all of this?" I completely understand, Jessica answered, her voice barely a whisper. The judge nodded slowly. Good. Then let's make this simple. She looked back to Jarvis. Judgment for the plaintiff, $2,300. The gavel fell with a sharp crack, and just like that, it was over. But outside the courtroom, the damage couldn't be measured in dollars. Families don't recover easily from betrayal. Trust, once broken, doesn't grow back like money in a bank account. For Jarvis, the judgment meant little. He wasn't seeking revenge. He was seeking closure. He had served his community with integrity for nearly 2 decades. But nothing in his police training had prepared him for the heartbreak of seeing his own child, the girl he had helped raise, behind bars. Jessica left the courtroom that day feeling smaller than ever. The truth had been laid bare for all to see, the lies, the excuses, the guilt. She knew she had no one to blame but herself. Her need, her desperation, had driven her to betray the only people who ever truly cared for her. And her mother, caught between husband and daughter, felt the full weight of both worlds. She loved them both, but love wasn't enough to erase what had been done. Every family dinner would feel different now. Every celebration would carry the shadow of what had happened. As the courtroom emptied, Judge Judy glanced toward the departing family. There was no triumph in her eyes, only the weary understanding of someone who had seen too many families destroyed by greed and denial. Justice, she knew, could fix a wrong, but it couldn't heal a heart. Outside, the autumn air was cold. Jarvis walked ahead, his badge glinting faintly in the light, while Jessica trailed behind with her head bowed. They didn't speak. They didn't need to. The silence said everything. Once he had promised to protect her. Now he had been forced to protect his home from her. In the end, Duncan versus Thomas wasn't just a legal battle. It was a tragic reminder that sometimes the people you love most can hurt you the deepest. The law could order repayment, but no court in the world could restore the trust that had been lost in that small, suburban home where love used to live. Because when family turns into evidence and affection turns into testimony, the real sentence isn't jail time. It's the lifetime of regret that follows.